Hey guys, what's up? Z-Dub here with Fish Lyfe Outdoors, and today, you ain't gonna believe it, but we are talking drop shots with the drop shot expert, Mr. David Ozio, Lake Fork Guide. Y'all check it out.
I know what you're doing.
It's my show.
Yeah.
All right, damn it. Hey, no matter what's gonna happen, it's gonna be cut to where I couldn't catch first fish.
Well, of course, yeah. I know that.
Hey, you may catch your sun gun like right now when the sun's coming up, and the first fish you catch on the video gonna be a bright sunshine.
I just wanted it on video when you handed me that dollar.
I missed him again.
He almost pulled it right out of my hand right there. Almost put. Now
Look, there's a way you got to do this, all right? And OZ ain't perfected it yet, but we getting there. We getting there. Stay tuned. Like that right there. I mean, I was getting bit, but he never would commit.
master of the dinks. It was 4 foot low. We were fishing a tournament one day. We got it.
I think so.
He backed into a little.
Give me that dollar hand.
Get the,
Give
dig
me
that dollar out. Dig
that
dollar
dollar.
Out. Light line. We got him one in the boat. It's all about the line.
If the worm's bigger than the fish, no, that doesn't count.
No, that's a dollar hand. We said first fish. We didn't say first 5 pounder. All right, double or nothing on the first fish over 3 pounds.
Okay, I'll do that.
Saw him on the video. That was a video fish.
Heck yeah. Hey guys, listen. Drop shotting to me, it ain't much different than wacky worming. You gonna have to fight through some of these dinks, but you will catch bigger fish. Ain't that right, Dave?
Absolutely, 100%.
There you go. All right, guys. So we're talking about drop shot fishing today. We're out here doing it on Lake Fork with Lake Fork guide David Ozio. Big time drop shot hand. He's going to show us at least what he feels is the best way to rig a drop shot for the most success.
All right, sports fans, we do things a lot different than most people do with the drop shot. A lot of people use spinning rods with braid, and I'm not against that. By no means am I against that, but you have to tie specialized knots with that, especially when you're connecting braid to fluorocarbon. We use the FG knot, and it's a hard knot to tie, but it is bad to the bone though. It won't come loose. In this case, we use baitcasters, and there's a lot of reasons why we'll use a baitcaster with a drop shot. We do a lot of flipping of trees, boat docks, situations to where I need accuracy, and that is paramount with the baitcaster. So in this case, we use 12-pound main line, all right, and I use mono for a very good reason. I want the stretch. A lot of people don't want stretch, but like in the case of Swingington Mech Strong Arms here, he like to broke a rod in half here while I go setting up on one of these things. You don't need that much torque in order to get these fish stuck. As far as that goes, with a drop shot, you just want to lean into them. I know some people that use braid on them, you know, but you need even less hook set when you use braid. So in this case here, we've got a 35-pound swivel. It's a Spro swivel that I put on the end of this, and the number one reason why I use the swivel is that when we're pitching targets like boat docks, trees, it doesn't matter what, even fishing deep, as that weight falls, it's going to helicopter somewhat. And some of the weights that you use, you can look in here and see that I've got mostly teardrop weights is what I use. And the reason why we use a teardrop weight is they helicopter less and they come through garbage just a little bit better. And so that's why we've chose to use that. There's cylindrical weights, there's round weights, there's all kinds of weights, and but over time we've proved that the teardrop weights work the best. Now, So what we're going to do is I'm experimenting here, and we're going down with some even lighter line. The beauty of using the swivel is you get to set your line size that you want to do on your leader. And so I'm using fluorocarbon, and we're going to use 8-pound test. All right, on here. That's what I used yesterday when we went over to Lake X, and we had a lot of bites. It's all about getting the bites is what the game's entails. So the hooks we use are small hooks. This is a Gamakatsu number 2. Not a 2/0, but a number 2. It's an extra wide gap, and the reason why we use it too is it holds the bait really well. See the offset right there? And owner makes a rigging hook that is a straight line right there, and the hook, the bait wants to slide off of it. So these Gamakatsu hooks are the best. Now you can tie certain knots on here, but the best knot, what I do too, and I'll do it 2 different ways. I'll pull out about a 6-foot section of line, and this is 8-pound test, going to be hard for you to see, but I'm going to double it. All right, I'm going to double it in half, and I'm going to tie what's called a San Diego jam knot. All right, and there's a reason why we're going to do this too, in the fact that the reason why I double the line, you go through. Let me see if I can get it pinched down.
Now, while we're talking about the knot, there's also a way you want to actually tie this to where that hook sets up a certain way.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and I'll show you that. But with the San Diego jam, you tie the. You just look it up on YouTube. You'll find the jam knot on there, and I'll go ahead and get that tied, and then I'll show you what's going to be the end result here. All right, so. Okay, wet it. All right, so now we got the jam knot tied, and now you have a loop right there, and we're gonna cut that loop off. Now what you're left with after that is two tags of line off each end. All right, and what you want is that you want this hook pointed straight up. Now this is an interesting situation here. Rarely does it do this. Whenever you either way, see that it's sideways, it's slightly up right there. So when you get a situation like that, when I tie this knot, I can rotate it around. I want that hook pointing straight up is what I want, and I don't want it laying sideways like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose the length of our drop shot leader from hook to weight, which in this case here we're going to use about 8 inches or so. All right, so once we cut that, then I'm going to go back through the eye of the hook with this line, and then that is going to make the hook fairly well stand straight up like we want. You want the hook pointing straight up, right? I've seen some people tie them like this. You will miss every single fish if the hook is pointed down after you get your drop shot tied. All right, so now we tie on our weight, which in this case is the Phoenix drop shot weights, and you'll see that they've got a little clip on the end of it right here. You can actually cinch them up in there, but it doesn't work very well. So what I'll do is I'll tie a half granny knot here, and then tie a tag knot in the end of it. Okay, and then you cinch it up, pull it up into the lock. So now it's locked into the top right there. So now we've got my rig here set to go. Now all I have to do is tie one more San Diego jam knot on the swivel, and we're ready to play.
Real combination that you prefer when you're drop shotting with a bait caster?
Yeah. Yes, I mean this rod right here is an Akuma. It's a jerkbait rod, and it works really good for a drop shot rod. And the key factor is, where's the deal right here? There it is right there. See, it's an 8 to a 15 line rating. That is the upper limit as to what I would use on a drop shot rod. 8 to 15. 6 to 12 is perfect. All right, for a drop shot rod, and even in a spinning rod or whatever the case, 6 to 12 is what you want for it. And the thing is that if you take your time, handle it slow, let the fish run, let the drag pull, and everything's fine. And the thing is that not enough people put enough emphasis on the drag system, and that's why that when you're using a drop shot, especially with a bait caster, you want something, a good reel. This Helios SX is an excellent, Akuma Helios SX is an excellent reel because it's got an insanely good drag system on it. And when you're using this right here, you want that thing to be able to spin whenever you're pulling, whenever you've got a big fish on. And so if I'm using, say, 6-pound test line or 8-pound test line, I want this thing to be able to flow. And so how do I determine what's the right drag? Technically, to get the right drag, you could get you one of those spring-loaded weigh scales, all right? Affix it to something. Take this line, tie it onto the other end of that weigh scale, back up about 20 foot, rear back and set the hook, all right? If you break it off, you don't have enough drag, all right? So loosen up on your drag a little bit, go back and retie it. Reset the scale, the spring load on the scale, rear back, set the hook, all right? The drag spins, go up there and look and see at the little lever how much it went up. If you're using 8-pound test line, you want 1/3 of that to be what your drag weight is, all right? So you need about 2.5, 3 pounds of drag weight, meaning that when I pull this right here, this needs to be at 3 pounds. Well, that scale right there just went up to 3 pounds, so that shows you that's right. So now you pull this and memorize it. So for 8-pound test line, that's about where it needs to be. If I use 10 or 12, it can be a little bit tighter, all right? And so that's the scientific way that you determine it. I've done this for so long that I know where the right drag is for all these lines, 6-pound all the way up to 12-pound. We don't use much more than 12-pound unless we're in some big fish, fishing in timber, and we're pitching to those wood. Then I might go to 15-pound on that and a 2/0 hook and even a heavier weight like a 1/2 ounce weight. So all those factors help you to catch more fish and to be more efficient at what you do.
Is there a specific way once you cast out into an area to fish the drop shot back to the boat?
Yes, the one thing about a drop shot, when you everybody thinks that a drop shot's something that you're going to fish straight down. That's not the case. Like if you see one on the graph right here and you drop down on it, that's video fishing is what I call it. But most of the time we're casting it and and just moving it real slow. The thing about a drop shot is you do not want to work it fast. Too many speed demons out there dragging these things on the bottom at 75 miles an hour, and you're not going to get bit. You want to hold the rod up similar to the way you'd work a Texas rig worm, just like this. But shake the worm, just notice how I'm barely moving the rod tip. Just shake it, give that worm a little bit of action, let it quiver, then pause it. Don't continuously move it. Pause it for 5-10 seconds, all right? And then pick up some slack, move it. You can lift the rod tip and move it towards you about 6 inches or so. Shake it just a little bit, pause it. That's really the way to do it. Watching a lot of the pros, a lot of the guys on the tour, and sometimes they won't even shake it that much. You have to let the fish tell you what they want. And in some cases, just easing it along, not shaking it at all is what they want. Sometimes they want it totally dead sticked. And then there's a lot of times when we're moving the rod tip like this, we're bouncing, giving that worm some action. So play with all of the applications and let them tell you what they want. And then that'll give you an idea for that moment in time, what's going to get the job done.
All right, guys, so what we're doing here is we're experimenting, okay? You got to be able to adjust in the game of fishing. We're getting a few bites here and there, but not as many as we'd like. So we're actually going to downsize our leader from 8-pound test to 6-pound test, see if it makes a difference.
And also too, we're going to go down, so we can see them on the graph. We can see the fish on the graph, but we're just not getting the bite. So I'm going to size him down in leader here, and we're going to go down in worm size also.
You got to be able to adjust. All right, guys, so we're going to close it out today on Lake Fork, Texas. A huge shout out to Mr. David Ozio right here. He had an opening today, fit us in last minute, and really brought us up to speed on the proper ways to rig and present a drop shot, as well as the proper gear and how to set your gear up for the drop shot. Mr. David, Man, we really appreciate you. Hey, you guys look him up, Lake Fork guy, David Ozio. Tell me that number one more time to call you and book a trip.
409-782-4269. And we fish other lakes besides this one. We got a couple of Lake X is really hot right now.
So, there you go. Check him out. Marcus, you about ready to head back to DFW and maybe hit some Hubbard or some Levon?
Hubbard, baby.
Yeah, hey, next time you see us, we gonna be all up in that river, slinging wax, crankbaits, drop shot. Yes, we're gonna use what we learned today and see if we can replicate that on other bodies of water. So, appreciate you guys watching this episode of Fish Lyfe Outdoors. I hope that drop shot tutorial really helps you guys out as much as it helped me out, and I know it's gonna help Mark out. So, see you guys next time, and remember, when you bought that life, just get out and live it.